What is this? Whose idea was this? Is there a reason that this came to be? Because I know it's not Devil May Cry, this didn't come from the mind of a sane man, and they probably did it because audiences responded to the first game by going, I remember playing the first Devil May Cry game with my brother when I was a kid, and while I didn't know where the series went tonally past that point, I know that this was a step in the wrong direction. Dante in the first game is a badass, but the way he talks to the villains makes you think Satan must have given him a fortune cookie that said he literally couldn't lose. Not to mention the absurdity of his actions did a good job of making you believe it was probably true. I think if Dante had died at the end of DMC 1, there would have been zero doubt in my mind it was a conscious decision made so that he could throw slurs at demons on their home turf in the second game. But in DMC 2, he's a completely replaceable action hero. The protagonist of this game could have been Link with a beard and the game would have been arguably better, because at least Link is supposed to be silent. As a result of Dante effectively having his lips zip-tied shut, the game's story is a complete mystery to me. The game opens on a woman we don't know in a place we don't recognize, and we're told the story of Sparta. Dante shows up, says 2 words, and the woman leaves. There's a short establishing shot of the island, and it shoves you into gameplay. What bugs me is that superficially, it's the same setup as the first game. It opens up on Dante in a room when a woman suddenly shows up. They do a little battle and share a few words. There's an establishing shot, and you're on an island. The difference lies in the exposition. The first game shows us immediately that we're in a business that Dante owns called Devil May Cry. Trish tells us her own name and, by revealing her face, gives us our reason for going to Malay Island. The second game doesn't so much as tell you the name of the island until after the first mission. I wouldn't have even known Lucia's name if the HD collection didn't give me a character select. Speaking of Lucia, it seems like in every forum post I read about this game, there's at least one person talking about how much they like her, and I can't speak to the quality of her character because it's going to take me at least 2 games and an animated series to work up the nerve to play this game again to beat her story, but her devil trigger looks badass and is the only reason I would ever consider playing this game again. Moving on, Section 2, Article 1. I touched on the gameplay a little bit in the intro, but when it comes to the meat of the game, being everything except boss fights, the combat basically consists of until you get the submachine guns, then it becomes. This officially marks 2 games I've played where having 2 pistols makes you essentially unkillable. I'm not kidding. The added knockback to guns coupled with crazy good auto-aim means the only reasons you'd ever use the sword are to save time or fight a boss. And the sword combat isn't even fun. It lacks weight, so it feels like most of the time you might as well be swinging at air. You have the stinger and high time attacks from the first game, but I'm dumb and didn't realize that until after I beat the game because it never told me. Not that it mattered though, you can sweep almost every fight in this game by mashing Y until they attack, in which case you need to dodge. Then you just keep mashing. Some of the bosses require slightly more intellect than that, but all you have to do for them is activate Devil Trigger and keep mashing. I know hack and slashes are always pretty mashy, but this may as well be Cookie Clicker with a DMC skin. Kingdom Hearts 3 was really easy because of magic spam, but at least you had a limited amount of MP. Being Devil May Cry, it's not like magazine size is an issue. The only boss I had even the slightest bit of trouble with was the last one, and when it killed me the first time, I was so shocked it took me a second to realize my buttons weren't working. But by the 3rd attempt, I discovered I could kill a head by mashing in Devil Trigger, kill another with the RPG to refill the gauge, and repeat that until it was over with. Not to mention the bosses as characters are extremely bland. In DMC 1, the bosses had character and served a clear function to the plot. Here, they serve as nothing more than minor distractions on which to exercise your thumb muscles. The worst part was in one mission where you have to fight Phantom, the spider boss from the first game, and upon flashing back and being reminded of what a fun and interesting boss fight looks like, I found myself happy he was there, but sad that he had to leave so soon. It was like I'd been greeted by an old friend. Depressingly, it only amounted to a far easier replication of his past fights. All that, in addition to the complete abandonment of puzzles, means this game could most aptly be described as really, really easy until it isn't, but then you can just cheese it, and it's boring the whole time. I realize I never talked about the villain of this game, but that's because I don't know a damn thing about him. I think his name started with an A? Whatever, his boss fights are just as easy as the rest. I will give this game one thing though, I love that Dante is just as apathetic about being here as the player is. Why else would he make every decision by coin flip? It's like he knows this is just a painfully mediocre adventure he needs to slog through to get to better games. I just wish it wasn't character.
See you around.